Triumphant with
Here's a complete guide to completing the Citadel Day More Easter egg on Black Ops 6 Zombies. This can be completed on solo or co-op, and if you find this guide useful, then be sure to let me know. Jumping straight in, the first thing you're going to want to do is to open up the map by following the objective markers until you open to the courtyard. Once you're in front of the castle, you then want to make your way through either one of these doors towards the cannon. You'll want to interact with this to crank the cannon so it faces towards the door. Once that's complete, go behind the cannon and you should be able to fire the cannon towards the door. Once inside, you want to follow the door markers again to head down below into the undercroft. Once in the oubliette room, you want to shoot 3 locks off this box here. Be prepared as it's going to spawn a ghoul ghast, and once taken out, it will spawn a blood Ethereum crystal. Pick it up and insert the crystal into the portal and the Pack-a-Punch machine will appear. From this point, your next objectives in the map is to open up to the dungeon and interact with this door here to reveal a conversation with Gabriel Kraft. Once that conversation's over, your next objectives are going to be to build the basic sword and its 4 elemental variants. Before you can do that, you need to progress to round 10. From this round onwards, you will start to have zombies spawning in with armored helmets on. If you take one of these zombies down, it will drop a stamp. It will look just like this glowing orange part. Once you've picked that up in the dining hall, you'll be able to interact with one of the 4 knights with this stamp, give you the basic version of one of the elemental swords. You can do these in any order, but we'll start with the dragon sword. And this is tied to this knight here with the dragon symbol on its chest. Once you've interacted and picked up the basic version of the dragon sword, we can start with the first step. If you make your way above Juggernog, you'll see this dragon statue that you'll be able to place the sword into. Once the sword is placed, 3 braziers will light up around the map in 3 locations that stay the same every game. First location will be found in the spawn area, and it's this brazier in the corner, and once you interact with it, your character will be set on fire, and your job is to make your way all the way back to that dragon sword before going to 0 HP. Whilst you're holding this fire, you'll be losing 15 HP a second, but if you melee any of the zombies in front of you that spawn, you'll be able to increase your health all the way to the dragon. You'll then want to repeat this for another brazier, which can be found on the nature path, and it's the exact same principle where you're going to be losing health every second whilst you're making your way over to that dragon nice and easily. And the final one could be found to the left of the cannon on the village ramparts, which is the closest location to the dragon, so you should have no problems whatsoever with this. Once the 3rd brazier has been returned back to the sword, you will now be given the dragon sword, which is known as Caliburn. Once you've created your first sword, just go ahead and push to the next round where you should get another knight spawn that will drop another stamp, and we can work on the next sword upgrade. And this is going to be the light sword Solace, which is marked with a lion symbol. Use your stamp to get the basic version of the lion sword. Make your way past Speed Cola in the upper village. If you take a left, you'll notice under this ceiling there is a door with a lion statue on it that if you melee will light up a symbol. At this point, the game is going to spawn 4 glowing parasites, and each time you melee one of these parasites with your sword, it will make your sword glow yellow that you'll then want to melee the door again to reveal another symbol. Repeat this until 4 symbols are illuminated on the door, and then go ahead and melee it to knock on the lion. It will teleport you into a sanctuary where right at the end you'll be able to place down your sword, and underneath the sword there will be a symbol that you'll want to find on the wall to shoot to match. Once you've matched that symbol, a new symbol will appear under the sword that you'll want to shoot, and you'll want to rinse and repeat this until you've matched all of the symbols until they have all been matched. After that, your sword will glow yellow and you'll have the lion sword upgraded. From here, progress to the next round, take down another knight zombie, collect another stamp, and we'll work on the stag sword. Get the basic version, you want to interact with this knight with the stag logo on its chest. Once you've acquired the sword, we now need to get 3 lightning rods. One of the rods can always be found just to the left of the Deadshot Daiquiri perk machine up against these boxes. For the second one, you'll need to have the dead wire ammo mod equipped, and in the upper village by Speed Cola, there is this fuse box on the wall that if you shoot will send an electrical charge up to an aerial, dropping the second rod. The 3rd and final rod can be from a randomly spawned zombie. Will physically have the rod attached to their body, and the best place I've found to get this really quickly is in the dungeon and underground sections of the map. Once you've acquired all 3, make your way to the right side of the hillside ramparts and interact with this vase to place all 3 rods in. It will now create a small thunderstorm on the hillside rampart, spawning infinite zombies. From here, you want to kill zombies until your sword is lighting up with electricity, and then whilst it's electrified, run to the vase and melee it. You should notice the charge on your sword disappear onto the vase and onto one of the rods. Repeat this 3 total times where your sword has been electrified and melee the vase 3 times where all 3 lightning rods are electrified, and you should be able to insert your sword, and after a short wait, you'll be able to pick up Durandal, the lightning sword. Progress to the next round until you have a night zombie, which will drop another stamp for the final sword upgrade being Raven Sword, which is this knight with a raven on its shoulder. Once you have the basic Raven Sword, make your way into the alchemical lab, and somewhere on one of the shelves, either in the middle of the room or to the sides, is going to be an animal skull, and this will vary between games, so it won't be the same as what you're seeing here. But regardless, when you pick it up, it will say that you've picked up an antiquity item. Now, this is without doubt the hardest sword upgrade in the game, but I'm going to make this extremely easy for you to understand. As far as I'm aware, there are 12 different animal skulls that you can find in this room, and each skull part relates to a certain animal, but also to a certain star sign. So on screen is a very useful list that I'll also have linked in the description, which you can use to refer to the item you get in your game. So in my particular game, I had 2 skulls, which means that would correlate to Gemini, as that is also known as the twins. And because I have 2 sets of skulls, they're referred to as twins. Once you've worked out exactly what item relates to your star sign, you'll then want to also refer to this graphic on screen, which you'll be using for an upcoming puzzle. So with the antiquity you picked up, you want to make your way to the pub in the spawn, and in the tavern cellar, you'll be able to insert your antiquity, and then it's going to want your sword. Once both of those are placed, you're then going to be solving a puzzle, which seems complicated, but I'm going to break it down. At this point, you should know what your star sign is based on what animal you have. So in this example, it's Gemini because I have 2 skulls. Then I'm going to use this graphic on screen here, which I'll also link in the description. In my puzzle, I have an inner ring that contains 4 green symbols and the outer ring, which contains a bunch of white symbols. Once you know what star sign your part is assigned to, so in this example, mine is Gemini because it's 2 skulls, I can see that Gemini is under the air heading. Where you inserted the sword, right above it is going to be a green arrow, and we're going to want to rotate the inner ring until we match whatever star sign you have to the corresponding element above. So because I'm Gemini, that means mine's a triangle with a line on the top that's facing upwards, and because my skull is Gemini, I'm then going to look for the symbol that matches with my skull. So I'm looking for Gemini, and that is going to be that eye with the 2 lines in it. And as you can see, once I match them up, I get the puzzle correct. A few other antiquities you could have is this, which is a scorpion, as there is a physical scorpion within the rock itself, which would match with Scorpio, and another image where I have fish as the antiquity, which means that would match Pisces, because in the previous graphic, we can see that Pisces relates to the fish. If you're still confused at this puzzle, I'll have more references and images of every antiquity that match to the correct puzzle symbol, so you can get this done extremely easily. If you don't get the puzzle correct or you take too long, you'll have to go to the next round to try again. But if done correctly, there will be a patch of purple ethereal energy on the floor, as well as 2 orbs that will be floating around following you, that you're going to want to lead towards that purple Arkifa patch to then be swallowed up by the ground. The easiest way to do this is to just slowly coax the orbs towards the pathway, being as slow as possible.
Did you just pay with PayPal?
Yeah, and the cashback's wild.
Are you guys feeling this?
And once complete, the orb is going to move upstairs into the main tavern and spawn on the floor, where you'll want to repeat this again. This time there will be even more orbs, so you just want to be extremely patient, slowly walking around the tavern, even running outside the tavern if you need to, running up the stairs just to try and get them as packed together as possible. If the orbs do manage to hit you, they will damage you, and the orbs will respawn at the current progress that you're at, where you'll have to try again. Once that second one is done, a third one will spawn on the second floor of the tavern, and a lot of patience is required to duck and weave around the orbs to then make sure that they all collectively head up the stairs in the same sort of direction, so that they can all make their way into this purple patch on the ground. And once that third one is complete, the orb will go back into the tavern cellar, back into the puzzle, and once you interact with the puzzle on the wall, you'll notice that the sword will come out of the puzzle, fall into the ground, and then respawn, giving you the upgraded shadow sword. Now that you have all 4 upgraded swords, we can move on to to the next step, which is to get 4 pages from a secret book. These pages can all be found in the sitting rooms, and there can be 9 different spawns in total, but you'll be looking for 4 pages that look like this with little glowing red symbols on. These have some really well hidden spawns, so make sure you're checking everywhere that you're seeing in this video carefully, as you will be able to find them, including against the TV, on the sofa, on the bunk beds, next to the stamina up machine, on the outer edges of the sitting rooms, along all of the walls. Just make sure you're paying extra attention, and every time you're picking up one of these pages, the game will be tracking your progress of how many you've collected in total. So if you're at any point confused, be sure to press your back button, where you'll want to have 4 torn page fragments marked by the Roman numeral for the number 4 being IV. Once you've got all of those pages, you'll now want to get the Melee Macchiato perk and make your way to the Undercroft, where you'll want to melee this wall with your Melee Macchiato to reveal a wall with loads of blue symbols. From here, you'll want to head back to spawn and make your way back to the tavern, where around the tavern will be 6 of these vases that will each have Roman numerals on that you'll want to interact with. 2 will be on that desk, 1 will be on the bar itself, another is to the left of the front door there, another can be found upstairs near the pool table, and the final one is just above the stairs that lead to the cellar. Once you've activated all 6, you'll then want to go around the tavern and take a screenshot of all of these vases in numerical order, as you're going to need these symbols in these orders. The number 1 can always be found on the bar right here. Number 2 can be found here. Number 3 can be above the cellar staircase. Number 4 can be found upstairs by the pool table. Number 5 can be found on this table here. And number 6 can be found by one of the front doors. Once you've noted down all 6 of these in order from 1 to 6, you'll want to head back to the Undercroft, and with that newly revealed wall with the symbols, you want to shoot the one that associated with the number 1. The symbols will then start transforming and then reveal a new order where you'll need to shoot the one for number 2, and you'll want to rinse and repeat this with symbols for number 3, 4, 5, and 6, where each time you get further and further into the sequence, the wall is going to change its symbol orders faster and faster. Once you've shot all 6 in the correct order, you'll get a quote from your character, as well as a red orb transferring from that wall to a section next to it where it's going to reveal a book. And with those pages that we just picked up, you'll be able to interact with the book and place all 4 pages on the book. Now, each of these pages correlate to 4 different symbols which match to 4 different traps around the map. And these specifically are the point of power traps that are all around the map. Now, the 4 symbols that your book will show will be different every single game. You're going to be activating specific point of power traps in a certain order that correlate to your book, starting with the symbol in the top left, the bottom left, then the top right, and then the bottom right. So for me, my first symbol looked like this, where it had 8 individual points coming out of it. And if I look down at the point of power trap, I can also see that the shape is outlined in white, which means that this is the correct point of power trap. To activate the trap for 1600 points, and in this, zombies are going to be a lot slower, and you're going to be shooting magic bullets. And all you need to do is just take out zombies, and once complete, you will get a completion quote from Craft, meaning that was the correct trap. And to confirm that it was the correct trap, if you go back to the Undercroft and look back at the spellbook, you should see that the top left symbol has now disappeared. My next symbol looked like this, and this matched to a point of power trap that was in the hilltop. So again, I activate it for 1600 points and take out as many zombies as possible, and you should complete this step very quickly. This is your correct point of power trap, which matches the symbol in the bottom left of your book. Once completed, I went to check the book again in the Undercroft, and I had 2 symbols disappeared, meaning I only have 2 more traps to do. The top right symbol looked like an eye with eyelashes, which match to a point of power trap location in the dungeon. To activate it and take down zombies, and that should be completed really quickly, and then go back to the book to check if that was correct, which for me it was. So now I'm on to my 4th and final one. For me, that matched with a trap within the stamina up room, and once you've completed the 4th and final one, you'll get a quote from Craft about the owl saying come on in. Now that is complete, the next step involves us getting 4 ritual items and upgrading them. These can be obtained in any order, starting with the easiest, which is the horseshoe, which you can find in the barn on Nature Path. By coming inside, and above this doorway will be the horseshoe that you can shoot to then pick up. Once you've got the horseshoe, make your way towards the castle and up to the hillside ramparts, as you're going to use the cannon, shoot yourself back towards the spawn room. Whilst you do this, some lightning is going to be appearing across your screen, and somewhere on the map there is going to be a small lightning cloud. It can appear in a few locations, but just look up in the sky, go towards it, and on the ground should be Pegasus's horseshoe. Now we've got that that ritual item upgraded, let's now move on to getting Ra's Ankh. For this, you'll want to go to a crafting table and craft 3 Molotov lethals, as we're going to be throwing a Molotov at 3 different locations around the map. These are all going to be centered on the hillside ramparts by the cannon, and with your first Molotov, you want to throw it onto this debris pile just underneath the pylon. Your second Molotov is going to be directly above the castle entrance on that balcony there, and each one is going to spawn a few zombies from some fireballs, so you know you've done it correctly. And the third and final area you're going to throw a Molotov at is just to the left of the acid trap towards Speed Cola. If done correctly, fireballs will spawn more zombies, including a Ghoulghast Elite that once you take down and has finished exploding will drop Ra's Ankh. The next ritual item we'll be going for is Raven's Talon. In order to get this, you want to make your way to the oubliette room and take the fast travel that leads you back to the spawn. And along the fast travel, right towards the very end to the right, you're going to notice a raven that you're going to want to shoot. You'll get a quote from Craft, and once you're out, you'll see a raven will start flying into the sky. Simply shoot at it and it's going to drop down the Raven's Talon. But if for some reason you miss it once you come out of the fast travel, it will be flying around in the sky and you'll be able to hear it and you'll be able to shoot it down. It'll be flying all around the outskirts outside the castle towards spawn. And the final ritual item is going to be Paladin's Brooch. In order to get this, you want to make your way to the dining hall, and right above the Vulturade perk machine is going to be a red crystal that if you shoot is going to produce a faint beam that you're going to want to align to the next crystal. So for this, you want to make your way to the upstairs section of the map and shoot it. It aligns with that crystal right there. You'll then want to stand directly in front of the Vulturade perk machine and shoot the laser to rebound it down to that next crystal. From there, you want to go slightly left of the Vulturade perk machine to shoot that crystal to beam the laser into the alchemical lab. You'll then want to run into the alchemical lab and shoot the laser until it twists into this crystal above the arsenal machine. Shoot it while standing in front of this table, and it should align all the lasers, allowing you to pick up Paladin's Brooch. Now we have all 4 ritual items, we can now upgrade each of them. This can be done in any order, but to upgrade Paladin's Breach, you'll be interacting with this yellow circle that will have spawned to place the brooch in and simply fill it up with souls until it's complete, revealing a plinth with a golden chest. To upgrade the Ra item, make your way in front of the castle and interact with this yellow circle that will have spawned and fill that up with souls until complete. The horseshoe upgrade can be found right here inside of the spawn room, where you'll just want to fill it up with souls. To upgrade the Raven ritual item, you want to take it to this circle in the Undercroft and again fill it up with souls. Once you've completed all 4 of these, just past the alchemical lab will be this new diagram on the wall, giving you an order of all 4 elemental swords, in numerical order being 1, 2, 3, and 4. Take a note of this order, as this is the order that we're going to be activating the next step with that involves all 4 swords. Your order will be different to what you're seeing here in my game, but for me, the Raven sword was first. So with whatever sword you do have first, you want to make sure that you have it on you. You'll also want to use the sword on one of the treasure chests that we just revealed. So for the Raven sword, that chest is in the Undercroft. So if I melee the sword, I will then be able to take the dark incantation. And for this next step, we have to give the knights our 4 swords as well as the incantations. Because Raven was the first in my order, I have the Raven sword as well as the dark incantation, and I make my way to the dining hall to find the knight that matches my sword, and I want to use my left bumper to use the incantation, and then you want to bring up your inspect animation with the sword in front of the knight, and if done correctly, the knight should accept that and take your sword, making sure that is the first sword in your order. And you'll then want to rinse and repeat this for all of the other swords. So the next sword in my order was Lion, and the location for the Lion incantation is this box in the dining hall. So using the sword, it will bring up that light incantation, which I'll pick up. Then I will use that incantation on the knight and then inspect the sword, and it will accept that one. For the stag, the electric incantation can be found in the spawn room right here. Once you have the electric incantation, use it on the correct knight, then inspect the sword and it will accept that. For the dragon incantation, you can find it just in front of the castle right here, and with your dragon sword, use the incantation on the correct knight and then inspect your sword. And once all 4 are accepted, the knights are going to spawn a mystic orb that you'll want to pick up. With this mystic orb, there are going to be 4 elemental challenges that you can do around the map in any order. The first one we'll start with is on the second floor of the dining hall, where you'll be able to place the orb into this section on the wall here, and it's going to start a mini lockdown with a bunch of green orbs spawning. In order to complete this challenge, all you need to do is stand in the orbs for enough time for them to disappear, as each of these big green orbs is going to send a smaller orb back to the mystic orb that we placed. You will have infinite spawning zombies during this, and you don't have to necessarily kill them to complete this challenge. You just need to stand in the orbs until the challenge is complete. Once complete, you'll hear a quote from Craft and you'll be able to pick up the Mystic Orb. Another location for a Mystic Orb challenge is going to be here in Spawn, where you'll place it just to the right of the incantation table, which will then start another challenge where if you pay attention to the element on the orb, you'll need to take down zombies using specifically that variation of the sword using its left and right trigger ability as well as the incantation, as only that will get souls that will fill up the orb to complete this challenge. Once complete, you'll be able to pick up the Mystic Orb and we can move on to our next trial. The next trial is a fire trial which can be found right opposite the max ammo here in the courtyard. But once you've placed the Mystic Orb and start the trial, you'll have to take down zombies using either the ultimate ability of the fire sword or using the fire incantation. Once complete, be sure to pick up that Mystic Orb and we can move on to the final trial. And the location for this Mystic Orb, just to the left of the dark incantation in the Undercroft, where here you want to be killing zombies using either the dark incantation or the sword's charged ability. Once you've completed the fourth and final Mystic Orb and picked it up, you will then be boss fight ready. So at this point, it's highly advised to make sure you have all of your perks, you have all of the necessary gobblegums that you've brought in that you want to.
Get last-minute gifts now. Up to 40% off select hoodies, sweatshirts, and more. 20% off select Hoka shoes. Up to 40% off NCAA hoodies, polos, and quarter zips. Or let them pick with a gift card. Give the gift of sport at Dick's.
To have on, I highly recommend the GS45 pistols Akimbo triple pack-a-punch to take out zombies, and the main primary weapon being an AR or an LMG with lots of ammo. If you have any spare salvage lying around, it's highly advised to create a mutant injection score streak that you can take into the boss. Once you're ready, make your way to the Undercroft stairway and place the Mystic Orb in the wall with the 4 elemental sword icons, and it will reveal a secret room where you'll be able to pick up an item called the Guardian Key, as well as experience a brief story moment between the owl and Sam. Once completed, make your way back to the spawn room and interact with the front of this statue here, which will activate the statue and teleport you into the final boss fight. This is a 3-stage boss fight that will take you into a very small circular arena where around the middle is going to be all 4 incantations that you can pick up to take down zombies, but you'll mainly be focusing on the boss, where during phase 1 he has a hammer slam attack that can send several streaks of fire, as well as walking towards you and stamping nearby. For the first part of all 3 of his phases, there is going to be a ridiculous amount of shield health attached to the boss, where you're just going to have to inflict a ton of damage before you'll really be able to start doing any critical damage to him. Once you've started putting a bit of damage into him, you'll notice that some parts of his body will now be glowing, and if you hit those are critical spots where you'll be able to inflict the most damage to him. I highly advise during this, be sure to run around the arena either clockwise or anti-clockwise, training up the zombies and using the incantations to take those out whilst you can, as those zombies will drop armor plates as well as ammo. After a short while, the boss's critical spots will disappear and you'll just have to inflict a ton of damage into him again in order to get more critical spots to appear. Once he's taken enough damage in phase 1, he will move into the middle of the arena and become a solid statue. During this phase, you'll have a ton of zombies that will start spawning, as well as some special zombies, and this is where your sword as well as the incantations will come in extremely handy to take them all out before the boss returns again. And you'll know you successfully completed this when the boss's health will return, and you'll also have a max ammo spawn. During this, you'll also have your first Ghoulghast. Moving into phase 2, the boss will be even more mobile than he was before and have a brand new attack where he has a homing slam. There will be a red circle that will appear near your vision, meaning that he's very soon going to jump, try to slam down on you, or slam down his hammer. Just like the first phase, there will be a ton of shield on him before his critical spots will start to be revealed. This will now move to his arms as well as his legs and feet. During this, he will also have a new attack where he'll spread lava across several parts of the arena, which will take about 15 to 20 seconds to disappear, but if you walk across, will be absolutely deadly. Once he's taken enough damage, he'll retreat back to the middle again, but he'll have shrunk the arena down even more so to just the middle, as beyond the outer edges is a constant stream of lava. Once you've you've taken out the zombies, the boss will be back in, and it's at this point that I highly recommend using your mutant injection, but you'll be able to do a ton of damage. This can be combined with some really good gobblegums like Idolize to stop zombies and other specials and elites tracking you whilst you try to put damage in this final phase. It is extremely important that you be careful around these edges because you can go down extremely quickly, and even if you do with these pistols, be sure to spam all the ammo in them before you use the self-revive or get revived. And with a bit of luck and a bit of skill, you will have completed the Citadel Daymore Easter egg, and the boss will have dropped an amulet item which you can pick up, which will then take you to the final cutscene. Really hope you guys found this useful and informative. If you did, be sure to drop a thumbs up on this. If you need any help with this Easter egg, be sure to drop it in the comments below. If you need an Easter egg guide for any of the maps in Black Ops 6 Zombies, then be sure to check them out on your screen here and subscribe to not miss out on the future maps. A comprehensive guide showing you how to do all 22 side Easter eggs on Citadel Daymore. From having a giant chest piece protector, becoming a rat king,